What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Bitcoin is starting to get a little bit of a pop to the upside, as well as some of the altcoins. XRP getting a little move up. We also got things like Sui, as well as Ethereum getting a little bit of a pump here. So I wanted to drop this quick market update to let you guys know those next targets to the upside. Are we going to see this pump continue? If you guys watched the live stream last night, you will know we were looking at a lot of these coins to fill their volume profiles and come up to some Fibonacci retracements. And now that we're seeing that happen, I want to give you guys the next targets to the upside. And obviously we do have FOMC today, so there is likely to be massive volatility. So we are likely to see this volatility continue. Are we just going to rally into this thing for a big dump on the meeting? I want to cover my thoughts and what I'm expecting next here for the overall market. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts and break down these next targets for the CandleMafia. Let's get into it. So guys, here we are on the Bitcoin chart. And as you can see, we have finally gotten that 15-minute money flow crossover we were looking for yesterday on the live stream. If you guys tuned in, you will know we were looking at the 4-hour green dot printing in cooperation with the money flow coming up on the 15-minute, which did give me the confidence to hold my long position actually from the low right down here. I've already locked in profits on that full rotation of the profile, had my stop loss to break even. I didn't get stopped out, and now we are getting that second rotation. So I am just holding that position, continuing to hold on to this and squeeze it for every bit of profit that it's worth. And we know that if we see that 4-hour green dot printing and that 15-minute money flow crossover like we were starting to see last night, we know once that money flow crosses into the green, we are likely to see a continuation of the trend to the upside. This is exactly what we saw. Now that on top of the fact that we had come down here and tested our current value area low, already got a push up. Our next target was that POC, and this was last night on the live stream as that money flow was starting to creep back to the upside. We knew, hey, if that money flow crosses over with that 4-hour green dot, we are very likely to flip that POC to support and then see that full rotation of the profile into the value area high. Now, although obviously this is a key level of resistance, and this is typically where we like to look for shorts and rejections back down into the range, there are some things on Market Cipher B, as well as some liquidity sitting above, which I will go over in just a minute, that might be able to suck price up here. And I am holding that long position here with the premium Discord over on Blowfin, and you can see we're up about $2,300, almost $2,400 unrealized, 151%. We got 933 locked in with our stop loss pretty much at break even. I'm actually going to move this up to break even. So this is obviously a guaranteed winning trade. Even if we stop out, we'll make some profit. I am probably going to lock in some extra profits here soon because that volatility is probably going to be crazy today. But if we come back over to the charts here, guys, obviously we've gotten that full fill of the range. We have to be careful at this resistance. But again, if we take a look at Market Cipher B here, you guys can see that we do have some of our medium time frame money flow coming back into the green here. 4-hour money flow starting to cross over. You can see that in all of its glory here. Now, the last couple of 4-hour money flow crossovers did fake out back into the red. But at this point, we have kind of spent a lot of time in the red here. Maybe we are ready for some kind of significant crossover for a continuation to the upside. And you guys know overall, we have been looking for a potential bigger retracement to come in here for Bitcoin. And we know that even if we do get the bigger retracement, guys, with our higher time frame money flow, unfortunately, this money flow is still in the red here. So until this 2-day money flow and some of the higher time frames, such as the 3-day, start to crack back into the green, we have to anticipate and look at the market through the lens of potential retracements, lower highs before potential continuations to the downside. And we simply just don't know if we're going to get that bigger retracement from here or if we're going to come take the lows one more time and come down to some more of this significant support. I think it is going to really depend on what we see happen here for FOMC. If we get the bigger retracement, it's going to look really nice, and I will be cautiously bullish, but keyword cautiously, because with that 2-day money flow coming out, we have to anticipate this is going to indicate the overall trend to continue to the downside. So if we do get that retracement, we just have to be careful for lower highs at key levels of resistance. And I will just mention this very quickly, guys. About $96,000 to $97,000 is a huge level of resistance if we were to get a massive retracement. And if we get up here and money flow is still coming out, we're going to have to be very careful of those lower highs to come in. But the great part is if we get a bigger retracement, we can enjoy these gains to the upside, at least for the short term, and then reassess the situation once we come up to the bigger levels of resistance. Now, this is the macro golden pocket when pulled from the all-time high to our current low. So if we do come into these golden pocket retracements, that makes these resistance levels very high probability areas to put in a lower high. If that is going to be the case, this is where I'm going to be looking at for a major lower high to come in. Now, there's no guarantees we get all the way up there, so I am going to cover some of the lower time frame levels, but in the grand scheme of things, this is kind of what we are looking for if we are going to get that massive retracement. This is going to feel very, very bullish, but we do have to be cautious once we get up to those levels, only because we have our money flow coming to the downside. If we see money flow come up as we're approaching these levels, it could mean that we kind of dodged a bullet and we may be able to work our way up through this bigger profile. And then once we break above about 102 to 103K, we could potentially anticipate a bigger breakout to higher prices. prices. But until we get up there and reassess the situation, we're going to have to see how things shake out here. But I will say this, guys, if we come on over to the 4-hour, obviously, like I said, we do have the 4-hour money flow coming into the green, and the fact that we have gotten a few other fake outs here. Money flow crossover into the green back here in February. We had another one back here earlier in March, and these all got slammed back to the downside. So at this point, right, we've spent a lot of time in the red for the 4-hour time frame, and it might be time to see a little bit of relief here with that money flow crossover into the green. And if that is the case, we're going to let that long slap all the way to the upside continue to capitalize on those gains. So 4-hour money flow crossing into the green, we're hoping that we could get this to be sustainable for that bigger retracement. And I want to jump in here to the lower time frames and just kind of talk to you guys about those ranges. Now, obviously, local volume profile, we have the value area high sitting here at $84,377, and we did just come up here and swing fail this wick right here. So we'll see what happens. We may be able to get a little bit of a cool off here, but there is also an opportunity to come up and sweep some upper liquidity here, guys. We talked about this last night on the live stream. If I pull up the liquidation heat maps really quickly, you guys can see we do have a lot of liquidity sitting up here, starting at about $85,400, and we are starting to creep up towards those levels, guys. And we know liquidity acts as a magnet for price. So if we do continue up, I am going to be looking at this zone, understanding that people who have their short stop losses sitting up here, if we come up and tap those levels, it could potentially cause a cascade of liquidations, giving us a big wick through this level. And that wick is sitting right here, guys. So as we kind of wiggle our way around here, if we're able to kind of stay above this value area high, we may be able to get sucked up towards that liquidity, sweep out those short positions, which gives us kind of two situations. We could potentially get some short setups up here to come back into the range, lose that value area high at 84.4, and then get our move back down to the POC and then back down to the value area low and potentially beyond. But I'm not going to get too deep into every single situation here, guys. I just want to talk about the key levels. So just understand liquidity sitting above this wick at about 85,250, and then that real big liquidity starts kicking in at about 85.4. So just understand we do have a magnet up here, which is that liquidity. It doesn't guarantee that we're going to come up to this level, but we do have that liquidity sitting here, which is something you want to pay attention to, especially if we are going to see some more volatility to the upside. So some low time frame turbulence may not be unlikely here, but as long as we can remain above that value area high, this is going to be the next major target that I'm looking at for Bitcoin. And then if we push up here during FOMC, we can potentially look for those short positions if we do wind up getting those confirmations. I just wanted to point out those levels up here, guys, because more often than not, we look at that liquidity, it does act as a magnet, and we do get sucked up to those levels. So just be aware of those. But other than that, guys, this is the overall range that I'm looking at. And down here at the value area low, if we do rotate all the way back down here, we do have some confluence with a daily level and a weekly level in confluence with that value area low. So we are just bing bong in this range, guys, looking for longs at the lows, shorts at the highs. And this has played out very well for us in the premium Discord, especially since we got that bounce off of some bullish CVD at the lows. So I am simply sitting in my long, chilling, making some money on the way up, and then just hunting for our next potential scalp short position here. So we got that 4-hour money flow crossover into the green. Even if we come up here to some of the higher time frames, you can see that 8-hour money flow looking to come up as well. Again, this doesn't mean we're going to instantly shoot up, but over time, this could indicate that even if we get little cool-offs, we could potentially look for the continuation of the trend to the upside, eventually leading to a bigger retracement for Bitcoin on the higher time frames. And another thing here, guys, we do have the 4-day green dot printing. And, you know, again, these higher time frame green dots can give us big pops to the upside, but we cannot get blinded by those green dots and retracements. I know that feels really bullish, but you just have to be really careful around those next key levels of resistance, because you don't just want to get randomly bullish because we're coming up. You have to identify the market structure as well as the money flow to anticipate whether you should be looking for shorter term positions to the upside, for bigger swing positions to the downside, or if we should be looking for gigalongs down here for all-time highs. And at this point with money flow, I'm going to be cautiously bullish at this point. Keyword, cautiously. Just to point this out, guys, if we pull our fib from the absolute low here to the high, you can see down here the 786 daily remains our key level of support. And if we do wind up losing all of these levels and we just wind up nuking down out of this volume profile, this is the biggest level and the line in the sand that, in my opinion, would call for a bit of a bigger move to the downside, where we have our next key levels of support sitting down here between the daily and weekly naked points of controls between about $76,500 and $75,000. So hopefully we could just, stay up in here. These are the current levels, but if we get some kind of crazy nuke to the downside, just be aware, we have the value area low where we can look for longs, but if we wind up losing this, we don't hold the golden pocket and we lose this daily 786, that is the key level. That is where I would be calling for these bigger levels of key support that we previously front ran to come in, and then this is the next big level that I would be looking for bigger swings to the upside. But hopefully we don't have to come down there and we could just, potentially yeet on up here. But with the volatility coming in here, guys, I'm being very careful. I'm locking in profits and I'm jumping in, grabbing my bag and jumping out. So that's what I'm looking at here on Bitcoin. Now I do want to jump into some of the altcoins, because if you guys tuned into yesterday's live stream, you will know on Ethereum, we were looking at our next key targets to the upside being here at about $2,000. We knew that we were getting stuck inside this volume profile. We got the move to the POC, and then we kind of just bing-bonged around between the value area high and the point of control of this range. And we knew that if we were able to get that same breakout that we were looking at on Bitcoin with our 15-minute money flow crossover into the green, which obviously you can see here, that is where you're looking for that continuation up. And if we were going to get that, our next target was going to be right here on the golden pocket sitting at about $2,000. We broke through that level, flipped it to support, and then we would target our next key levels here at the 786 Fibonacci retracement sitting at about $2,064. And then, obviously we could see, a little bit of turbulence at that 786, but as long as we can get this money flow to continue coming up into the green on Ethereum, our 4-hour is also crossing into the green, which would indicate the overall trend to continue up. So, maybe we get some turbulence here at the 786, but if we can get the continuation of that trend, guys, big line in the sand here is going to be the value area low / doorway to higher prices, because we know if we are going to get imbalance out of this lower volume profile, we are very likely to get gravitated towards that previous area of balance, which starts here at $2,100. And this is likely going to be resistance until proven otherwise, which is why we have that purple box here. But once we're able to get above that $2,100 level and flip it to support, we may be able to get accepted in here and then target the next main level in that profile, which is sitting at 2320. And it's really nice to see that 15-minute money flow crossover give us that continuation like we were looking at on the live stream. That market cipher B 116 strategy is super overpowered, and not only is it overpowered, but it's a simple strategy that you can use without having to understand tons of super advanced things. It makes it very easy to kind of identify where the trend is going to continue, with market cipher B keeping you on the right side of those trades. So very nice to see Ethereum coming up to our next targets as well. Let's see if we could kind of work our way up here and flip that value area low for the bigger move up. Now, I do also want to take a look here at XRP getting the big pop to the upside, and this is something we've been looking at forever, guys. I know you might see that XRP chart and be like, oh my God, what the heck is going on? We're getting that big pop up. What happened? We are just simply within our volume profile here, and we knew, anytime we deviate below this low, that's where you're going to be looking for those long positions to flip that value area low, come up to the POC and the value area high, deviation above, back into the range, rejected, accepted in, lose the POC, back to the low, and then we're back below the value area low where we're looking for long positions. And this was our target here for XRP, being the value area high of the range. We get back into the range, flip it to support. The next likely place for price to go is that POC, and then as long as you can get money flow to agree with you, you are anticipating eventually to fill that range in full up to the value area high. And we got that move through the profile in all of its glory. A lot of people may think, oh my God, what's happening here? But when you know how to look at the charts in terms of the volume profiles, we simply just saw that full rotation of the range. Somewhat predictable if you understand how to use the profiles like we do here in the CandleMafia. So we'll see what happens. Very similar signals here. We got the 4-hour money flow crossover into the green, so hopefully we can keep that here and give us that continuation of the trend to the upside. If we break out here above this value area high, next target for XRP is going to be about $2.78. And then once we can break above that 786, that's where we can look up towards our next little mini profile that we have up here, starting at about $3.04. So again, I am being pretty cautious right now, guys. Just because we're getting the pops to the upside doesn't necessarily mean we're about to go on a monumental run. But with this money flow coming up, we can look for potential continuations, at least up to some of these other key levels of resistance. Now, when it comes to XRP, we do have similar signals here with the money flow coming out. So we do still have to be careful for lower highs and lower lows. But as of right now, with that 4-hour money flow, we may be able to see that local continuation up. But just be careful because we are hitting resistance here, guys. This is where we look for shorts. This is where we look for longs. Nobody wants a long XRP when it's losing the range. This is where most people short. But we know with the volume profiles, the more likely situation is to get back into that range and see that fulfill of the volume profile. And one more honorable mention here, guys. I want to take a look at SUI because we looked at this last night on the live stream in terms of the volume profile. And as we were peaking above this value area low, guys, you can't make this up. Very simply, we had that beautiful deviation below the low. You can see here, 6:48 p.m. This is literally where we were seeing that push up, saying, hey, if we get above this volume profile, guys, we got money flow coming up here on the 12 and 15 minute as well. So if we're able to see those money flow crossovers, we could get accepted into this range, making the next likely targets the POC of the range. Once we tap that POC, we could potentially look to begin our journey to flip that POC to support and then see that move into our value area high and apparently a little bit beyond. So if SUI does continue up here, I want to talk about some of those next targets to the upside, which on a little bit of a higher time frame really would be this next golden pocket retracement sitting at about $2.68 and $2.72, where you have the golden pocket value area low confluence right here. This is obviously going to be a little bit of a bigger move if we see an aggressive pump. And if we look at the VPVR, guys, you can see we do have a little bit of a fall off in volume here. I would definitely mention this high volume node sitting sitting between 248 and about 253. This is our next kind of spike up in volume, but you guys can kind of see here the highest volume node is sitting up here between the golden pocket and 786 from the higher time frames. So, you know, if we are going to see a longer term continuation to the upside, we can start to look at this zone because, as you know, those high volume nodes like to act as magnets for price. You can see we stick around right here. Once you break into those low volume gaps, sometimes you can see a quick move up. Quick moves down oftentimes lead to quick moves up, giving us the bigger areas of the resistance sitting up here towards these upper levels. That 786 slash high volume node sitting between 280 and about 287. Now, again, it's probably going to take some time to get up there, but I just want you guys to have these on your chart so you're ready if we do see some kind of a crazy move. If we do wind up breaking back down here, the value area high is sitting at about $2.38. Break back down below there, we can simply look for another rotation of that volume profile to the POC, to the value area low, right? We deviate below the low, fill that range in full, deviate above. This is where you want to potentially look for scalp short positions back into the range. But again, when we look at the money flow, we have to understand the context of the market. Context is always going to be king. And with that 4-hour money flow, we have to be careful for that continuation to the upside. So if we do get short-term turbulence to the downside, we can look to hold that value area high at 237. If we do continue to break down here, guys, obviously, you guys know I do not like taking trades in the middle of a range. However, if we pull our local fib retracement here, you can see we do have some confluence here on some fib levels. So this will be kind of an honorable mention support level that we could put a higher low in at. This is sitting between about $2.34 and $2.31. So if we do get back down in here and we are not going to fill that range in full, I would look for potential higher lows to come in here on that Fibonacci POC confluence for a continuation of that breakout to higher prices. That's potentially where we could see a move into those next targets I just mentioned. So nice to see a little bit of a pop to the upside here, not only on Bitcoin, but the altcoins, guys. But again, we're not just getting blinded by these random pumps here. We have to understand the context of the market. So that's what I'm looking at here, guys. But again, be careful with FOMC today, guys. The volatility is likely going to be crazy, but this is what I'm looking at. These are the key levels I'm watching and the next target, not only to the upside, but also the downside, because it doesn't matter if we wind up getting the bigger retracement up or not. The CandleMafia is going to be out there making money, whether price goes up or down. And guys, quick announcement, FEMX is helping us give away some free months of the premium Discord to any CandleMafia members that are signed up on our FEMX links. So if you're looking to get into that premium Discord and you're already on our link, you may be lucky enough to get one of those free months in our premium Discord. So guys, be careful out there with FOMC. And with all that being said, that's all the time I got for today's market update. If you found this useful and you like us dropping this TA every single day for you guys, go ahead and smash that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you don't miss any of these urgent market updates. That's all the time I got for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Frankie Candles out.
Go at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy. On the road, here we go, yeah, we winning by a landslide.